So go ahead and find a comfortable place to begin. And that doesn't necessarily have to be an upright seated position, depending on your morning, your energy. Maybe you want to take a child's pose or a downward facing shavasana sometimes feels good, right? Just to begin from there. Um, if you enjoy a little bit of music for your practice, I sent a playlist along. So feel free to cue that up or just let your breath be your soundtrack. And just start to allow everything around you to dissolve. Imagine if you could just sort of wave a wand and everything except for the present moment would be completely wiped out of your space, out of your mind. And perhaps the tool that you use is your breath. So take a deep inhalation through your nose. And as you exhale, just kind of imagine everything around you dissolving, not just things to do or maybe whatever tasks you were doing before practice, but the entire world. So you sort of have this space around you that is just the sacred present moment. And you can kind of feel yourself land, however that works for you. If it's mentally thinking about grounding and landing, maybe think about the heaviness of your bones connecting with the ground beneath you. Maybe your eyes are closed or your gaze is set upon a point. And just allow yourself to be here. I was talking a little bit earlier about having a teenage daughter who's completely missing her senior year. And as a parent of a teenager, or a parent or an aunt or an uncle or anyone who has a teenager in their life or was a teenager, the two words that we hate the most as a teenager being told are calm and down. Nobody wants to be told to calm down, right? So I was reading this Glennon Doyle book called Untamed, and she was talking about why do we say calm down? And when I think about it in these terms, it makes so much more sense because when you're freaking out, you're up here, right? You're like up in the ether, you're up in your brain, you're up in the space where nothing is anchoring you. So the thought of calming down is really about getting grounded, right? It's really about feeling the earth, taking a pause, sinking in to whatever's happening instead of being completely untethered and out in la la and not able to see what's actually going on. So how do we do this as yogis? Well, we land here on our mats. So perhaps it is the breath work that grounds you. Perhaps again, it's a visual of yourself seated on the earth. Maybe you have a mantra. Maybe it's one you've created for yourself. Maybe it's a Sanskrit mantra. What is it that you do to calm down? Because we all have our own methods and we all seek out to find the things that can help us calm down. But at the end of it all, the only thing that can calm us down is ourselves. Right? So what are those tools and what can you use to help you calm down? Down to the earth, down to what's important, down to the present moment. Begin to notice the movement of your chest, your belly as you're breathing. And can you begin to make the movement bigger as you begin to expand and contract the inhalation and the exhalation, outgrowing the one before, just getting larger, taking up more space. And it's all of these ideas, right, that came from someplace. As we were kids, being told to calm down or take a deep breath. Now we understand what that means. The breath is our best teacher. Taking a deep breath can help us calm down. So notice what those tools are for you and what different way you can look at them. So when someone tells you calm down next time, you can be like, cool, I can do that. Take a moment to notice if there's anything that's kind of just like knocking on the door of your brain that won't leave you alone. And then let an exhalation push that thought further and further away from your mind's door. Not that that thought isn't important, or perhaps it's absolutely not important, but just notice what it is that keeps tapping, that keeps knocking. Say that many of our thoughts are reruns, just completely going over and over again. So what is the point of letting it in one more time? One more breath to be here. And whatever orientation you're in the next few moments, we're going to make our way onto our backs. But if you're in a child's pose, feel free to stay there. If you're upright, maybe bring your hands to your heart center. And allow a moment of complete gratitude to wash over you for giving yourself this opportunity to calm down, to be present, to be aware. And maybe you set your intention to remember what those tools are, what it is that can help you find the earth beneath your feet. And just gradually, in whatever way makes sense to you, make your way down onto your back, hug your knees into your chest. Give yourself a really delicious squeeze once you land. Oscillate your head from right and left. Moving the knees from side to side, just start to notice the back body, the spine. And then go ahead and take the legs, the knees wide into a malasana, so you can take the arms inside the legs, catch the pinky toe sides of the feet, and enjoy a little happy baby here. And again, happy baby should more be called exploring happy baby, right? Because babies don't just sit in stillness when they discover the glory of their body, right? All of the different ways it can move, their legs sticking their feet in their mouth, and straightening and extending and bending. So just take a moment and see how your body's feeling today. And then hug the knees back into the chest. Give yourself a really good squeeze, drawing your nose up to your knees. And then let the head and the shoulders come down to the mat. Stack your knees over your hips, shins parallel to the earth. Take your arms out to a T with the palms down. Let the back of the head rest back onto the mat. Press the back of the rib cage and the low back to the earth, but leave that little natural curvature of the spine. You can have like a little blueberry there that you wouldn't crush. And as you inhale, allow both of your legs to drop over to the right, not the whole way to the earth, but where you begin to feel a little bit of a struggle, a little bit of a strain. And from there, let the exhale pull you gracefully right back to the center. Inhale, drop the knees over to the left, just until you start to struggle a little bit. Turn your head to the right, let things start to awaken. And then use the exhale to pull the knees right back through center. So let this opening little bit of core work start to kind of shock you into the present moment. Almost as if you were in a place and you weren't paying attention, and all of a sudden there was an earthquake shaking. Like, hello, wake up, we're here. Take the knees to the left, gaze to the right. The exhale brings you back through center, and allow this to begin to be seamless, right? Where the legs are in a continuous movement pattern following your breath. Maybe you close your eyes. Notice if your tongue is suctioned to the top of your mouth. Drop it down. Little space between the top and lower teeth. The next time your knees go to the right, what would it feel like if you paused and kicked out through your feet, straightening your legs, zip up your inner thighs, start to feel the right side of the body fire up. Breathe here. And then bring the knees back through center. Slowly take the knees over to the left, gaze to the right, and again, maybe kick out through the heels, hug into the inner thighs, start to awaken the left side. And then coming back through center, keeping the shins parallel to the earth, slide the hands like a hammock behind the head. Let the head rest back into the hammock. Take a deep inhalation. We're just gonna bicycle here nice and slow. So as you exhale, the right knee pulls in as you twist over, straighten out through the left leg. The inhale, you come back and reset. Exhale, twisting over, drawing yourself to the left, and then coming back through center. So continue in this movement, and again, just like we did in those twisting opening movements, can you find a place where the legs are not really starting and stopping, but there's a continuous fluidity as it follows the inhalation and the exhalation. Again, it's sort of like walking outside on a really cold day. That cold, as soon as it hits your lungs, as soon as it hits your skin, it brings you into the present moment. It says, hello, it's very cold outside, I'm here, pay attention. So let the same thing happen here, this heat we're generating in the belly. Let this fire rise up and draw you right into your practice, right into the present moment. The next time that you find yourself twisting to the right, we're going to pause. Don't hold your breath. Keep breathing. Maybe reach your left arm across. Maybe see how far you can reach. And then come back through center. Take the twist over to the left. Reach long through the right foot. Maybe reach your right arm across. And then come back through center. Go ahead and lower your feet down to the mat. Bring your hands down by your sides. We're going to move through some bridge lifts now, finding the counter of all of that abdominal work. So as you inhale, slowly begin to lift the hips up, coming as high up as you can, sending the knees forward, shoulder blades drawing under the back, and then slowly, one vertebra at a time, bring yourself back down to the earth. So rooting to rise, the inhale lifts, press down into the feet, into the hands, press into the back of the head, and then slowly rolling yourself back down. So take 3 more like that, same idea. Can you find that the hips are in this constant motion? There isn't a starting or a stopping, but we're kind of flushing through the body, following the breath. Again, continuing to press the back of the head, the shoulders into the earth. And the next time that you rise up into your bridge pose, we're going to pause. Root down into the feet. Think about sending the shins and the knees towards the bottom of the mat. And then maybe tucking your shoulder blades under. Lifting up through the belly, maybe interlacing the fingers. One more breath. And then slowly allow yourself to roll back down one vertebra at a time. Hug your knees into your chest. Give yourself a delicious squeeze as your hands come behind your thighs. Begin to rock and roll forward and back. Ironing out the spine. So we woke up the core from the front, the side, the back, the other side. And now keeping that a bit of heat as we move forward in our practice. So this next time, go ahead and cross one ankle on top of the other. And as you roll yourself forward, just kind of pick yourself up and step back to downward facing dog. If this feels too soon in your body for any reason at all, please feel free to come down, take some cats and cows, and modify. If you enjoy the sound of the ocean, that practice of ujjayi pranayama, start to bring that breath to the surface. And as your river guide today, I'm working with a little injury in my shoulder, so I'm going to be showing you a non-chaturanga flow, but that certainly does not mean you can't rock out your chaturanga. So that's totally up to you. So gather in one deep full breath and let the beauty of the exhale, that sound, that sigh, that release begin to draw you deeper into your practice. And then walking on your hands, begin to make your way to the back of the mat, coming to your first forward fold, perhaps a really deep bend into the knees. As you pour yourself forward, let your belly, your ribs rest on your thighs. Bring your right fingertips to the earth underneath your nose. And then stretch your left arm up to the sky. You can keep the knees bending or you can play with straightening. Again, you have those blocks if you prefer to have a block underneath your right hand. Rebend the knees, place the left fingertips, almost like you have an orange underneath your left palm. Right arm reaches up, you can keep that bend in the knees, or the hamstrings are feeling a little more open, starting to stretch. And then releasing the hand back down to the mat. Walk your way out to plank pose. And once you land in plank, you choose knees up or down, spreading across the upper back, spreading out through the fingertips, navel up and in. Feel a little bit of fire in the quads. Breathe here. And then you're just gonna play with a little twist. Well, not a twist, more of an opposition thing. So you can lower the knees down. We're gonna play with taking the left hand and tapping the right shoulder. Lower the left hand back down. Right hand reaches across and taps the left shoulder. Right hand back down. Left hand taps right shoulder. Left hand down. Right hand taps left shoulder. Lower the right hand back down. Lower your knees down. So here's where you could take a chaturanga with the knees up, or if you want to take a non-chaturanga alternative, you're going to sit back onto the tops of the feet, draw your hands back behind you, and lift your hips up. So you kind of rise up. Here's your heart opener instead of cobra or up dog. Lower the hips back down. Walk your way back to the top of the mat. Press back, downward facing dog. Draw a deep inhalation in through the nose and let it go fully and completely out through the mouth. Take your gaze forward to the top of the mat. Just take your time to feel the earth beneath your feet as you walk your way forward, coming to your second forward fold. So keep a generous bend in the knees, let the head hang heavy. And this time you're going to sweep your hands up behind you, interlace the fingers, or if that's not available, no problem, catch opposite forearm. Keeping that bend into the knees, you're going to start to draw your arms to the left, turn your torso to the right, start to straighten your right leg, but keep your left knee bent. Yeah. And then rebend the right knee as you come back to reset. You start to draw the arms over to the right, turn the heart to the left, maybe straighten the left leg a little bit. And then come back, rebend the left knee, bring your hands down to the mat, and step your way back to plank pose. Shoulders over wrists, engaging across the front of the body. You can always feel free to lower the knees down. This time our tapping is still going to go cross body, but we're going to take hand to hip. So left hand reaches back for the right hip point, and then you place it back down. Right hand reaches for the left hip point and back down. One more. Again, let this be the wake-up call that brings you to the present moment. Lower the hand back down. Feel free to take chaturanga, up dog, cobra, or lower the knees down, untuck the toes. Walk yourself back. So it's a little different in these Zoom classes, right, where you need to kind of see what's happening rather than we're in the studio. So I'm just trying to demonstrate taking care of the body, right? Coming back, downward facing dog. Take a deep drink of breath. Fill the lungs. Open up the mouth and let it go. Step your feet together at the back of the mat so the big toes are touching. And then send your right leg up to the sky. Feel free to bend your knee, open up your hip, maybe wiggle your toes or do some circles with your right ankle. Draw one more full breath across the belly, up into the right hip. And then as you exhale, pull the knee to the nose, round the spine, chin to chest. Inhale, sweep the leg back up, bend the knee, open the hip if that feels good, or you can keep the leg straight. Exhale, knee to nose, coil the belly up and in. Last time, inhale, leg rises, bend the knee, open the hip. Exhale, pull the knee to the nose, and however you'd like to get it there, bring your foot between your thumbs. So you can always use your hand to give yourself a little assistance. And then from here, go ahead and lower your left knee down. So feel free to have a little padding underneath your left knee if you like. Interlace your fingers and press your palms on top of your thigh, lifting up through the heart. And then we're just gonna sink in to open up along the left quad. So as you send the knee forward, just let yourself sink down into that left hip, the left quad. And then back away from it a little bit. Keep drawing the navel in, sink further forward. So the back toes can be tucked or untucked, totally up to you. One more breath. Sinking in. And then bringing yourself back up, sweep your arms up to the sky. Take your gaze up. Maybe bring your palms to touch. And then return your hands down to the mat. Pick up your left knee. Step back to your plank pose. Left hand to the right shoulder. Replace it. Right hand to the left shoulder. Replace it. Take your flow or lower your knees. Take this non-chaturanga variation. Totally up to you. Making your way back. Adho Mukha Svanasana. Deep inhalation. Heavy exhalation. Step those big toes to touch. Draw the hips up and back. Left leg sweeps to the sky. Again, just feel the freedom here of what works best in your body. Circling the hips, the toes, wiggling, moving through the ankle. And then wait for your exhalation. The left leg chases the exhalation to the nose. Coil the belly up in it. Inhale, sweep it back up. Exhale, full deep breath. What calms you down? What helps you? Come to the present moment. Get out of the clouds. Get out of your head. Get out of your thoughts. The only way that we find is by practicing all of these different things till we find what works for us. Step your left foot the whole way through. Lower the right knee down. Toes tucked or untucked. When you interlace, maybe do it the non-habitual way. Pressing down into the thigh. Allow yourself to drop into that right hip, the right quad, and then pull up through Mula Bandha. Draw yourself back up. And then sink back down into it, lifting the heart and the gaze. Pull from Mula Bandha, Uddiyana Bandha. Draw yourself back up. And one more time, sinking in. Draw yourself back up, rising arms sweep to the sky, palms come to touch. And then exhale, bring your hands down to the earth. Pick up the right knee, left foot steps back. So you can choose to lower the knees down. This time we find the hip bone. Right hand to the left hip. And back down. Left hand to the right hip. Back down. So you choose, right? It's lunchtime. It's the lunchtime flow. So how do you want to flavor your practice? Perhaps you skip these flows entirely and move to a child's pose. Or maybe you're adding a little sriracha and you're doing a double chaturanga, right? Make your way back to down dog. Deep breath in. Deep, heavy exhalation out. And then step the feet together once again. Big toes touch. Right leg rises. Feel free to open the hip. And take one round, knee to nose. Inhale to sweep it back up to the sky. Your path to pull the foot through. Remember, the hand is always a lovely helper. And this time, we're going to pick the left knee off of the mat. However, you can season your practice by keeping the knee on the earth. Inhale with the knee up or down, the arms rise. So steadying your gaze forward, imagine that your hips had eyes, right? So I want you to set that drishti of your eyes from your hips straight forward. So they are not going to move. It might even help to put your hands on your hips. Imagine a vice just kind of gripping and holding you there. And then staying steady in the legs, wait for your exhale. We're going to twist to the right. Your arms might be able to straighten, or you might need to keep your elbows bent. Totally up to you. Hug into the inner thighs. The inhale just draws the torso back to the front. The exhale, we twist to the right, steady through the legs. Inhale back through center. Exhale, twisting to the right. Good. Inhale back through center. Maybe the palms touch. Maybe the gaze goes upward. Exhale to bring the hands down to the mat. Stepping the right foot back, finding your plank. And you can choose to keep with this tapping the shoulder, whatever flow makes sense to you. Lowering the knees down. I like to change it up every once in a while in these flows because I do find that when we do plank, chaturanga, up dog, we can tend to hit the autopilot, self-driving car mode, right? And we're no longer in it. We've left the building. So make your way back to down dog. One generous breath in. Open up the mouth, let it go. And then sending the left leg up, following that deep inhalation. Exhale one time, knee to nose. Inhale, sweeping it up, like spreading in opposite direction. And then pulling the left knee through, left foot plants. So again, you flavor your practice so many different ways. Knee down or up. Rise up. Gaze from the eyes steady. Imagine a gaze from your hips that's staying steady as well. Because it's so important in twist that we're not twisting from our low back. We're twisting from the ribs, from the kidney. So as you exhale, hug into your inner thighs and turn to the left. And again, the arms don't have to straighten, or maybe that feels good to you. Inhale, come back to the front. So be really mindful as you twist. What's happening with your right hip? Is it staying steady or is it trying to draw itself forward? So one more time. Again, all of these different tactics, all of these different ways to bring ourselves here, to calm ourselves down. Coming back through center, arms sweep up, maybe palms touch, maybe gaze lifts. Hands come down to the mat. Step the left foot back. Maybe stay with this flow. Left hand to right hip point. Right hand to left hip point. Exhale to lower the knees. The inhale draws you back. Hips lift, heart rises. Exhale, plant the hips. Inhale, downward facing dog. Exhale fully through the mouth. And we keep adding on. Right leg sweeps to the sky. Bend the knee, open the hip. Exhale, knee to nose. Empty. Inhale to refill. And exhale to step the whole way through. Choose your flavor, knee up or down, rising with the arms, the heart, the gaze, the breath. Hug into the inner thighs. We twist to the right. So remember, it's okay if the elbows are bent, but we're gonna stay in this twist, and we're gonna bring the left hand down to the mat or to a block, and the right arm up. So again, notice a lot of times our left hip is like, oh, I'm going down here for an adventure. You want to keep the hips squaring. So this twist is not going to give you a low back pain tomorrow, right? Now from here, keeping the legs as they are, we're just going to move through the upper body. So as you exhale, take your right arm, thread it underneath your right leg, pull your chin to your chest. And then inhale, re-emerge, reset, reach up. Exhale, thread it back under chin to chest. Inhale, peeling yourself open. Last time here, tracing beneath the surface, softening the jaw. Inhale, sweep it up. Replace your right hand to the mat if you have a block. Shift it out of the way. Step back to plank. Don't disconnect. Whatever flow you choose, maybe you do the shoulder tap, maybe you skip the chaturanga. Just stay present. Remember why you chose to roll out your mat today. And it probably wasn't just to think about a bunch of other things and not be inside of yourself. So use those methods, use those pathways to bring yourself back down. One breath to land in down dog. And then we shift to the second side. Left leg sweeps in opposition of the right. Reach as high as you can. Exhale, knee to nose. Enjoy the strength of the earth beneath you. Inhale, send the left leg back up. Exhale, pulling the left foot through. So the knee up isn't better than, it's just a different flavor. Draw the torso, the arms up. Take a moment to settle into the hips. We twist to the left without moving the hips at all. And then inhaling the right hand down so you can have that block underneath the right hand, left arm up. So it's so common for that right hip to drip down. Here comes Puppy for a cameo. So try to draw the right hip up. And you're going to take your left hand, thread it underneath your left thigh. And then inhale, sweep it back up. He loves his mama a little too much. Exhale, thread it under, release your jaw, your tongue. Inhale, rising up, keep drawing that right hip up. And last time, thread it under. Inhale, sweep it up. And then planting the left hand down, stepping it back. So if you're staying in this flow, we're tapping the hip point. Letting the exhale bring the knees to the earth. And the inhale to guide us back, opening across the heart space. Exhale to sit it down. Inhale, Adho Mukha Svanasana. Exhale to open up the mouth and let it release. And then lower your knees down to the mat. Just come to pause on your shins. Allow your hands to rest, either palms up or palms down. Close your eyes and just be inside of your body. Notice that buzzing energy of your body coming to life through this practice. parts of you that maybe have been not part of the dialogue. Notice if there are places that are tight or that used to be that are no longer. Just be inside your body. Feel your breath. Take a deep breath in through your nose and let it go out through your mouth. We're going to take that in one more round, one breath per movement. And we're going to be completely focused on the movement being as slow as the breath. So it's almost like you're in this slow dance with yourself. So one more breath to be here. Use those tactics to calm yourself down. Make your way to downward facing dog. Pull a deep inhalation of fresh prana into your lungs. Let that used up energy go out through the mouth. Sweep your right leg up to the sky, bend your knee, open up your hip. And we're going to step the foot the whole way through. We're going to skip the knee to nose. Whatever pathway you need to get that right foot there. Inhale, knee up or down, rising Anjaneyasana. Hug into the inner thighs. Exhale, we twist the torso to the right, expanding the arms. Inhale, the left hand comes to the block or the earth, right arm stretches up. Exhale, thread it under one time, chin to chest, stretch through the vertebra. Inhale, right arm stretches back up to the sky. Exhale, plant the hands down. Inhale, step it back to plank. Exhale, left hand to right shoulder. Inhale, right hand to left shoulder. Exhale, knees down. Inhale, slide it back and open. Back to down dog. As soon as the inhalation rises, left leg sweeps up to the sky. And exhale, step through. Take the entire inhale to rise, high or low lunge. Hug the inner thighs from that foundation, twisting to the left. Inhale, right hand down, left arm sweeps. Take it under, pull the low belly up and in. And then inhale, sweep it back up. Lower the hand, step it back, plank pose. Left hand to right hip, replace. Right hand, left hip, replace. Exhale, knees down. Inhale, back and open. Exhale and inhale, downward facing dog. Open up your mouth, let it go. And then take your gaze to the top of the mat and walk or hop or fly, crawl, or however you would like to get there. Come back to a forward fold, bend the knees, let the head hang heavy. Grab onto opposite elbow, and just draw yourself from side to side. Release any and all tension in your neck. So we're going to take all of this energy and finally bring ourselves up to standing. So releasing the elbows, bending into the knees, pull up through the low belly to support the low back so you can roll up, kind of unfurling like a fern. Just slowly rising till you find the full length of the spine. Standing tall, shoulders down, gaze steady, mind present. Take 2 breaths just to be inside of your body, to calm yourself down. Begin to shift your weight over into your left foot. And you're going to pull your right knee up. So good news is you're probably near a wall. So if you need a wall, left hand can be placed on the wall till you get your balance. And then from here, you're going to bring your right hand onto your hip and bring your left hand to the outer part of your right thigh. So you start to feel that same twist here as you rotate your heart towards the right. So there's so many variations of this pose. Maybe you stretch your right arm back. Maybe you kick your right leg forward. Press down into your left foot and rise up through the crown of your head. So you're moving in all directions. Don't hold your breath, release your tongue, release your jaw. One more breath here. And then we're gonna slowly reset, come back, take your arms up to the sky. And we're gonna take a big step back to find our lunge. Once you land, maybe bring the palms to touch, gaze up, pull the belly in. And then exhale, the hands come down to the earth. Sweeping the left leg up to the sky, bend your knee, open up your hip, and maybe this is where you hang. Or maybe you take that very slow progression towards flipping the dog, shifting to the blade of the right foot, shifting to the weight of the right arm, ball of the left foot plants behind the right thigh, rising up. And then gradually coming back around. 3-legged dog, left leg to the sky. Step your left foot the whole way through and step your right foot up to meet it. Fold forward, Uttanasana. This time, interlace your fingers and you're gonna bring the palms to the very base of the skull and just apply as much pressure as feels okay to you so that you're really lengthening. It's almost like you're finding length from the base of the spine the whole way to the top of the spine by using this little bit of pressure at the base of the skull. Let that continue to draw the energy of the thoughts out of the head into the earth so you have a few moments of presence. And then releasing, pulling in through the low belly, rolling yourself up so you can kind of unfurl, rising, pausing at the top. Take 2 full breaths just to be. So we take the second side. You can always use the wall in any way you like. Weight into the right foot, pull the left knee up. Left hand to the hip. Right hand comes over to that outer left thigh. Press the thigh and the palm into one another so you feel the rotation now coming from the spine, not from the hips. Maybe the left arm reaches back. Maybe you extend the left leg forward. Maybe the gaze goes back. Root into the right foot and pull that energy the whole way up to the crown of the head. We're moving in all directions. One more breath wherever you are. Come back to center. Bring the arms up to the sky. Take your big step back, landing. Lunge, palms touch, gaze up. And hands come down to the earth. Free the right leg up to the sky, 3-legged dog. And again, whatever feels good to you, but maybe take this very slow rotation. You pivot to the blade of the left foot. Bring the weight into the left arm. Bring the ball of the right foot down behind the left thigh. And you flip, Parshva Vashisthasana. And as you're ready, make your way back around, three-legged dog. Lower your right foot down to meet your left. And come down to sit once again on the shins. Palms can be up or down. Feel your breath. Notice any shifts in your energy. Notice if your awareness was way up in the clouds at the beginning of class, have you been able to bring yourself back down? Breathe here. One last breath. And you're just going to slowly kind of move yourself over to one side so that you can bring your legs out in front. So I'm going to give you the options for your hip opener. The first would be to come into your double pigeon. So bringing the right foot in and bringing the left foot on top. So for some of us, the knee is like way up high. You might want to put something there. Or if you prefer to slide that right leg the whole way over so the knees are now lining up for your downward asana. And you may have that block near you. If you want to lift up and sit on that to give yourself a little more support. So just take a moment to get settled. The heels, the closer the heels are to the hips, the easier, not easier, is there ever an easy hip opening, the less intense it is. More intensity, heels go further away. So just take one moment to be here. We're going to welcome a little sideways stretch. So bring your right hand down and stretch your left arm up. Start to bend your right elbow, but don't lift the left sits bone up off the ground. Keep rooting it down as you reach up and over. Maybe take your gaze upward and lean back into the space behind you. One more breath. Let an inhale draw you up. Left hand comes down. Keep dropping down into the right sits bone as you bring the right arm up and over. Keep drawing your left shoulder down away from your ear. Root into the right hip to lift and stretch the whole way to your fingertips. And then draw yourself back up. Find your length and then walk the hands forward. So if you want to take that traditional Gandhikasana, if you want to take the left arm back, go there. Get the shoulder opening as well, or just feel free to walk your way forward. So if you have your hands on the earth, press into your fingertips so it anchors your sits bones back to the ground. And instead of coming to this like frozen position, maybe lengthen, walk a centimeter further with the hands. Exhale, fold in. Sort of inchworming your way a little bit deeper, a little bit further. Each sensation, each round of breath. And then slowly start to walk yourself back, drawing yourself back up. And then go ahead and uncross the legs and just bring them straight out in front of you. Give them a nice little shake. You'll lift up the fleshy bits if you want to put yourself up on a little bit of the support of a blanket, Paschimottanasana. So before we go there, just bring your fingers down in Dandasana and staff pose and play with pointing and flexing the feet. Sometimes we don't realize how tight we are across the tops of the ankles, the tops of the feet. So just give yourself a little bit of a stretch there. And the next time you draw the toes back to the shins, sweep the arms up to the sky and start to tilt forward, almost like you have a beach ball or something between your palms, and keep reaching, reaching, reaching. And then maybe the hands come down and you stay nice and high. Maybe you bend the elbows and see if you can keep the length in the spine as you fold forward. But again, just like we were doing in down Mukhasan, you can just maybe centimeter fingers forward and soften back in. So we're asking the body in a very kind way to open rather than yelling at it, forcing it, torturing it, right? Just breathe into it. One last breath. And we're going to draw ourselves back up nice and slow. If you need to move anything out of the way, we'll come into the second side. So the left leg is going to come under, I believe, and the right leg is going to come on top. So you can go back to that Avni your firewall, or Galamukhasan. And again, sometimes it's very helpful to use these little earth movers, these little blocks. They move the earth to your booty, and then you have a place to sit. So totally up to you. And again, further away those heels go, oh Lord, you're going to feel it, right? So just kind of see where feels best for you. Drop down, calm down into the support of the earth. Bring the left fingertips down. Drop down into the right sits bone as you bend the left elbow up and over. Kind of lean back into that support of the space behind you, your heart space. Draw yourself back up. Just nice and slow, like you have the luxury of timelessness. Bend into the right elbow, left arm stretches up, drop down into the left sits bone. Nothing else needs to happen. And then slowly, slowly bring yourself back up. Take a moment to find the length of the spine. And again, if you want to take the traditional arms, that right arm is going to come behind. Or you can walk out onto the fingertips and sort of like we did in Paschimottanasana, walk forward with that nice long spine and then begin to fold in. So this way you're not going out past where you know you can go. You're slowly, kindly giving your body the space to generously open rather than to force it. Breathe here. Slowly, slowly start to walk yourself back up. Go ahead, move any props out of the way. Swing your legs around in front once again. This time give your legs a nice generous shake. Reach the fingertips forward. Pull the belly in. So this is sort of the reverse of us rolling up. We're going to roll ourselves down mindfully. Using this awakening in the core to keep us present, to shock us into the present moment. Go to that place where you can no longer hold it for one more second. And then release. Stretch your arms overhead, full body stretch. Breathe space into the ribs. And any last little wiggles, movements, just kind of essential things, not things that you think you have to do at the end of every practice. As you make your way towards your final resting pose, maybe you're in Shavasana on your back, maybe you take the Paritta Karani at the wall, maybe you prefer a seated meditation. How do you flavor your practice? As you come to pause, take a deep breath in through the nose. Expel every last bit out through the mouth. Soften the jaw. Soften the eyes, the shoulders, the neck. Let the limbs rest on the support of the earth. The hips melt, the heart open. The idea of calming down means coming back to yourself, back to the you that has been there since the first breath. And this isn't a new thing. This has been part of the human condition for thousands of years. As you can hear in this reading from the Radiant Sutras, you are stunned, powerless. You thought you knew what was going on. Now you realize you don't have a clue. You are stopped in your tracks. Everything within your skin is shaking. Enter this shaking. Get curious. Look around inside with wonder. Unmind your mind. All the walls have fallen down. Go ahead and dissolve. The one who has always been, who has seen much worse than this, is still here. If you have the time and space to enjoy your shavasana for an extended period of time, by all means, dive in. I'll see you sometime soon. If you need to move into the next portion of your day, feel free to begin drawing a deep breath into the lungs and emptying out every last bit. Start to welcome a subtle awakening to your body, your joints, fingers, your toes, your neck, your head. Start to let these movements grow in size until you can make your way to pause on your right side in a moment of gratitude. Notice how you feel now compared to when you first rolled out your mat. And hopefully this practice has calmed you down. Feel the earth. Notice the simplicity of what you're grateful for here. Use that support to rise to a comfortable seat. Gathering your hands at your heart center. Just bowing your chin to your chest. Honoring the connection, the wisdom in the heart. The intuition of the mind. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Namaste.